Oh, hi, Mama. Welcome to the Manifesting Motherhood podcast. My name is Jessie LeVay-Count, and I'm a certified life and fertility coach who specializes in the art of using manifestation to call your babies home. I'm obsessed with helping you fall back in love with yourself, step into your power, say yes to your best life, and manifest the family of your dreams. If you're trying to conceive, and you want to learn how to manifest not only your pregnancy, but a life full of laughter and adventure and beautiful memories with your babies, then you have come to the right place. My goal on this podcast is to help you see that you are meant for motherhood and provide you with the tools, strategies, resources, and support you need to step into your mama energy and bring your baby home. This podcast will serve as your weekly dose of fertile girl energy and the mindset work you need to quantum jump into your mama timeline. We're going to have an absolute blast, and thank you so much for hitting that play button today. Let's make some magic and make some babies. Welcome back to the Manifesting Motherhood podcast, where in Manifesting Motherhood world, we are building a movement radically shifting how women are trying to conceive, bringing their babies home by creating a life, saying yes to a life that baby can't wait to come home to, falling in love with life, bringing babies home, changing the world. I am so excited for today's episode where we are going to talk about what is actually possible for you. What is actually possible for you? And I know just how impossible making this baby feels. Like, I have been there. I've been there. I have been deep down in the depths of not being able to see, like, not even being able to feel into the possibility that I could be a mom. Like, I couldn't even think about being a mom. Like, it hurt too bad because I felt like I was never going to get there. I have been in that headspace where I just genuinely couldn't see it happening. And what I want to share with you guys today is what is actually possible for you. And not just like a rah-rah motivational level conversation, but really at a quantum physics, scientific, fact-based level, what is actually possible for you on this road to and through motherhood? What is actually accessible to you? And spoiler alert, it is going to be a lot more than you think. Way more than you think. So buckle in, grab yourself a snack and maybe a beverage. This is going to be kind of a longer episode, and we're going to put on our science caps today. Okay. So raise your hand if you have ever asked the question, or if you have ever said to the universe or to God, please just give me a baby and I will never ask for anything else ever again. I'll never ask for anything else again. I will never need anything else as long as I live. As if we are looking at God or the universe as some big sky daddy that we have to prove that we are humble enough that we can't ask for too much because we're trying to bargain with them so that we can, like, get what we want. We're trying to be not too much. We're trying to shrink ourselves down and to make our desires seem small enough so that something beyond ourselves can grant us just this one small thing that we want. It sounds an awful lot like a bargaining chip that you would use when you were 6 years old asking your parents for a puppy, right? And this mentality has shrunk you down so small and rendered you so, like, defenseless and hopeless and powerless. And it's got you feeling like you're at the mercy of whatever is happening around you and something bigger that is pulling the strings. And what I need you to understand as we dive into the quantum physics of this episode is that you are not powerless. You are not small. You are not weak. You are the universe experiencing itself in physical form. And so what I really want to explore with you guys is scientifically the quantum physics behind what this is and what is actually possible for you. And you are going to leave this episode feeling fucking limitless, quite honestly. You're going to leave this episode feeling limitless, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So this episode is going to be for the women who are more of an analytical mind, women who need, like, science to back up what we're doing in here inside this baby manifesting world. And so what I'd like to introduce you guys to today are 3 quantum physics concepts. These have been proven to be true. This is more than just a hypothesis. These are the things that have been proven as factual. So these are the 3 quantum physics concepts that stand underneath this body of work that I've created in terms of manifesting a baby. And there's a couple extra thrown in there as well. So let's dive on in. Are you ready? Give me a hell yeah wherever it is that you're sitting. I love it. Hell yeah. Number 1 is superposition. Number 2 is quantum entanglement. And number 3 is collapsing the wave function and the power of your perception. So we're going to dive into what each of these mean. So like I said, put on your science caps because we're doing a deep dive into each of these quantum physics concepts. So let's jump right in. So quantum physics concept number 1 is superposition. And I'm going to explain these in a way that is relatable and also tied to baby manifesting. So stay with me. We're not going to go like super technical in the explanations. We can absolutely have more conversations if you want to. But there was a Amazon Prime movie that came out fairly recently that was called Everything Everywhere All at Once. And inside this movie, it's a very strange movie. It's very odd. It's about this woman who has to save the universe via like destroying this everything bagel. I don't know if she has to destroy it. I can't remember how it goes. But anyway, the whole plot of the movie and this everything bagel is essentially how superposition works. And the quantum physics concept of superposition, and like I said, I'm going to give you guys the quick and dirty version so you guys don't have to do as much deep diving as I have done on these very concepts. But the concept of superposition is that everything is actually two things at once. So the universe is constructed of particles and waves. These are the very smallest things that we have been able to measure in terms of like their behavior and stuff like that. So a particle is both a wave and a particle at the same time. So it means it's exactly what you think. If you picture a wave in your head, it is both a wave that moves and fluctuates and is a fixed point at the same time. This breaks down our very notion of what is real, quote unquote real, and our perception of quote unquote time, and proves that everything exists everywhere all at once. Multiple timelines. It proves that time is not linear in the way that we perceive it on this physical plane. And I promise you I'm going to tie this in with baby making. But here's what you need to understand. Superposition states that every single possibility that you can think of exists, not just in your imagination, but actually exists as a potentiality. There are multiple timelines, and those timelines are stacked next to each other, not on top of one another, not in a linear fashion where they are running one over top of the other, but stacked next to each other. They run parallel to each other at the same time. So in every single timeline that you could possibly imagine, or every single possibility for your life that you could possibly imagine, it exists on an alternate timeline. And I know this sounds like something from a sci-fi novel, but this is what they're finding as they study time, as they study quantum physics, as they study the way light behaves and the way that particles and waves behaves. The timelines stack next to each other, and you can move from timeline to timeline. So we'll get more to that in just a second. But superposition is that everything exists everywhere all at once. And where we live on this physical earth, everything has polarity or duality. So it either is or it isn't. It's big or it's small. It's black or it's white. It's here or it's not. And that's not really how the universe works. That's not how reality actually works. Things are more than one thing at one time. And the reason why superposition is proven is because when we look at particles and waves, they're not particles or waves, they're both a particle and a wave. We're talking about the building blocks of everything in the universe. When they're studied, they are both a particle and a wave. Everything exists everywhere all at once. And if things can be two things at the same time, then we're cooking with gas, you know what I mean? So number 1 is superposition. So if you have any more questions on that, feel free to submit them in SpeakPipe. We can definitely talk more about any facet of this. So what this means for you on your baby making journey is that there is a timeline that exists, or a potentiality that actually exists for you where you are currently pregnant. There's another one that exists where you are currently pregnant and you have your dream house. There's another one that exists where you are currently pregnant and you have your dream house and a job that pays you so well, it pays you more money than you know what to do with. There's another one that exists where you are pregnant, you have your dream house, you have the money, you have the minivan, where you have an amazing support system that you could have only ever dreamed of. You've got the friends that you love, you've got the marriage that lights you up, and you have like whatever it is that you want for your motherhood experience. There is a timeline where all of those things exist. And what I'm not saying is that we're going to jump to a point where life is butterflies and rainbows all the time. That would be boring. But what I'm saying is that there is a version of you that has all these things. Like there are, like, just like there are particles and waves that exist as two things at once, superposition tells us that everything exists everywhere all at once. And so what we know is that there is a version where, you know, like you're a police officer. There's a version where you're a teacher. There's a version of you as a construction worker. Whatever it is that you can think of, it exists along a timeline somewhere. And we make timeline shifts all the time. And there are people on the internet who get really, really nuanced about timeline shifts. But this is the basics of what you need to know. And so that's what I've got to say about superposition. And I want to keep going because I don't want to overwhelm you guys with too much of the science. But like I said, if you have any questions about that, feel free to submit those. So quantum concept number 2 is quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement is observed in the universe when there are two particles that could be separated by billions of light years. It does not matter the distance. Do you guys know how far away that is? That's so far. That's legitimately farther than we can conceptualize as basic human beings. Two particles can be separated by light years, and any change in one is instantaneously signals the change in the other. Any change in one instantaneously signals the change in the other without the passage of linear time. This discovery of quantum entanglement won the Nobel Peace Prize back in 2022, by the way. Just saying. So here's what you need to know about this, because like I said, I don't want to be too deep in the science, but we can talk about this more if you want to. But quantum entanglement is the connectedness of these particles over great distances. When they signal, it signals the change instantaneously. No passage of linear time, does not matter the distance. So where this pulls into manifesting your baby is they are studying how our consciousness relies on quantum entanglement. These are the current studies that are being done. So our consciousness relies on quantum entanglement so that our consciousness, meaning the things that you think about, the things you concentrate on, the things that you focus on, the things that you spiral out about, those are the connection line to all of the timelines in superposition. Your consciousness is the thread that runs through every single timeline. So if you could lay it out visually, it would be like me laying out a bunch of lines on a piece of paper parallel to each other, standing straight up and down, and then drawing a line horizontally straight through the middle. That is your consciousness. Your consciousness is the access point to all the different timelines. Let me know if your mind is blown, because when I was learning about this, my mind was fucking blown, dude. It is the connection point. Any change in your consciousness signals a change in the timeline. The last quantum concept that I want to talk to you guys about is the power of your perception, or collapsing the wave function. So when they're watching particles and waves, remember how I said that a particle is both a particle and a wave. It is a particle and a wave. And in that, what they studied was called the double slit experiment. And what the double slit experiment showed us was that when we are studying particles and waves, the waves behave exactly like the toys from Toy Story. So in the movie The Toy Story dolls and all the toys, they're very much alive, right? We perceive them as inanimate objects, as humans in the movie, but behind the scenes, they're very much alive. And it's only when you look at them that they drop down and lay lifeless in one fixed point. And this is exactly what happens when you study waves and particles and apply energy to those waves of energy. So the energy being your observation. It's the power of you looking at it, your electromagnetic current, your energy. And so what they ended up seeing was that these waves, as they sent them through these slits, these waves only picked a fixed point on the board behind when they were observed. They only picked a fixed point on the plot line when they were observed. So what this tells us is that your perception literally creates your reality. What you pay attention to, what you choose to give focus to, what you choose to believe, what you choose to cultivate within your own consciousness, within your own life. Remember, these particles and these waves are how the universe is built. It's how it works. So, like, I get this argument so many times, like, that's just not reality, Jess. That's not reality. I don't just focus on something and it magically poofs up out of thin air. Kind of false. False. This is literally how the universe works, and they're studying it. This is how it was built. This is what it is. These particles and these waves, they're the building blocks of the entire universe, and they make up everything, including you, including me, including every cell, every atom, everything that we are looking at, every tree, every piece of grass, every piece of paper, everything that we can't see is all made of this energy. It is all made up of these particles and these waves, and just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, babe. So, this is what I want to dive into, because this is what is actually possible for you. And so let me tie all of this together and bring this back to baby manifesting. First of all, a little bonus tidbit here. Everything is energy. Everything. When you look at an atom, 99.999999999% of that atom is energy. It is only 0.000000001% that is physical matter that takes up space. And what you are trying to do when you are trying to force this baby making process via like all of your hard work and your grit and your determination, and you won't take your eyes off it for a second, what you are doing is you are trying to take that very small percentage of physical matter, the 0.0000001%, and make 100% of your dreams come true. That is what you're trying to do, instead of utilizing the energy that is full of potential. And that's a science word. That's not just a fluffy word to make you feel better. This energy contains kinetic potential. And so when we're using the energetic approach, it is infinitely more powerful. There's more of it. It's able to do more. So let's tie all this together. We've got our 3 quantum concepts. We've got superposition, quantum entanglement, and the power of your perception. The double slit experiment, where we can turn waves of potentiality into fixed points. So what we've got is, let's go 3, 2, 1, okay? So essentially what we've got is what you choose to pay attention to or observe, what you choose to use your consciousness to cultivate, chooses the timeline that you end up on. How fucking mind-blowing is that? And I'm going to repeat that. Go write it down. Grab a pen. What you choose to pay attention to, the focus that you choose to cultivate, what you end up focusing on in your consciousness, which is the thread that runs across all the timelines, chooses the timeline that you end up on. Chooses the life experience that ends up painting itself in front of you. It's amazing. So time is not real, my friends. It's not real. You can't tell me it's real. If I go to Saturn, I age slower on Saturn. Time is not fucking real. Time is a construct here on Earth that we use to make sense of our lives so our little human brains don't go insane. Time is not real. All the time that you have been trying for a baby, it doesn't even matter going forward. It doesn't matter. And this is this has a massive impact on your fertility at a physiological level. When people are working at this at an energetic level, when people have harnessed the power of this work, when they lean into this work, they come out the other side with this miracle status shit happening. I have a client right now inside my Manifesting Motherhood Academy who is giving her all to this work and just went in to have her AMH retested, and it fucking soared. It was low. It went up quantum jump style. It was a huge jump. This was not an incremental increase because of something she was doing different physically. Of course, she is decreasing her stress. She's working on her diet. She's doing all those things. But they don't see these kind of jumps in AMH because of physical factors alone. They don't. And her doctor says, this makes no sense. But here we are. It's fucking insane. And you cannot tell me, you cannot convince me that this shit doesn't have a physiological, real, measurable impact on your fertility. That it's not able to, like when we're utilizing that 99.99999% of energy that exists in every single one of the billions of atoms that make up who we are and the planet that we can see, and so much more. Like when we are utilizing that, you can't tell me that that doesn't make a shift and that doesn't make a change, because I've watched it fucking happen a million times. I have watched women inside my programs ovulate when they have never ovulated on their own. I have watched this work like jumpstart their natural fertility, and it's not even that it needs to fix all of this before baby can come. Your baby can come home regardless of what is happening in you physically. It can come home, your baby can come home even if everything's not perfect. It's not even that. It's just that we end up getting healthier. We end up getting more in tune with ourselves. We end up getting more aligned with who we really are. It is a great remembering. It is a great return to who we are. Our bodies start to function the way that they're supposed to as we are stepping into that heart-brain coherence, as we are utilizing our consciousness to pay attention to the timeline that we want. And so I'm going to leave you with this today. Infinite possibilities exist. And when I say infinite, I mean everything that you could think of, no matter how outlandish it is, already exists. Everything exists everywhere all at once, and your consciousness is the thread that runs through every possible timeline, and the power of your perception chooses the timeline, paints the reality. And so when it comes down to manifesting your baby, this is not just like a fluffy, here's what's possible for you because I believe in you, because I absolutely do believe in you. I believe in each and every one of you. But the choice is then, are you going to choose to be greater than you have been? Are you going to choose to shift your focus from where it has been? Are you going to choose to step into the woman, into the mama identity that you know you are meant to be living in? Are you going to choose to do that? That's the choice, and that's the one that's up to you. And it's not morally right or wrong one way or the other. You can do it any other way if you want. You can do it the other way. You can change matter with matter. You can take that 0.00001% of physical matter and try to change your physical situation with a physical only approach. It takes a lot longer and it's typically a lot harder, but you can do it. Absolutely. You don't need any of this shit to get pregnant eventually. What I'm talking about is stepping into something that's even bigger, even fucking bigger. It's not just about the positive pregnancy test and then continuing to feel anxious and alone and afraid for the rest of your motherhood experience, always at the mercy of whatever is happening around you, where you never get to relax and you are constantly triggered by your infertility journey for the rest of your life, and you're just fucking stuck there because you got the shit end of the stick and you don't get anything else along with it, because remember, you're not allowed to ask for anything else. You already got the baby, so just be grateful for what Sky Daddy gave you. And so what I am talking about is you actually stepping into what is scientifically, quantum physics backed, possible for you, which is everything. Which is a reality where you get the baby, you get the house, you get the partner, you get the kind of relationship, you get the kind of friendships that you want, all the things that you need to create the motherhood experience that you've been dreaming of, not the one where you are small and afraid for the rest of your life. And most importantly, there is a timeline that exists where you fucking love your life. Where you wake up every day and you're like, it's another adventure. I can't wait to see what happens today. There's a timeline that exists where that's you. And it's not that bad shit never happens. Like, we're here to work and grow through stuff. Like, we're here, if we didn't have any hardships, our little brains would be like, this is such a boring life. We came to Earth to experience these things, right? But it's that you've got a general sense of, I've got me no matter what happens. I've got me. I know that my perception paints my reality. I know that my perception, what I choose to focus on via my consciousness, picks the timeline I end up on. And that makes me feel so fucking powerful. I don't know about you, but that's not like a thing that bothers me or triggers me or like activates me. It makes me feel so fucking powerful. And that's what I'm going to leave you here with today. This is what is actually possible for you. And that is everything. And so if this is something that you want to get in the energy of and stay in the energy of, if this is something that you want to explore more of and you want to be around more of this kind of energy, if you want to be lifted up into this space, You want to be held accountable for holding your energy in this space, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, even when it feels uncomfortable because you're choosing something new. Then you need to get inside of the Manifesting Motherhood Club membership. It is made for you. I made it just for you. When I was trying to conceive, there wasn't anything like this. When I was manifesting my baby, there were no communities like this. This is legitimately the happiest group of baby makers on the internet. It will change your life being inside this community with both the Telegram community. We're talking every day. It's a bop and chat. We're talking every day. We're holding space for each other. We're going through all the things together. I'm in there mentoring weekly as well. We're running challenges all the time. Get in there, mama. And on top of that, we've got a giant content vault with all of my open when trainings that are very specific to the things that you are going through. So open when you're triggered, open when you see a pregnancy announcement. I've got tons of trainings, hours of trainings in there. When you're feeling XYZ, there's a whole content bank in there. There's a ton of meditations, guided baby manifesting meditations. I'm going to lead you through step by step. You get my 5 steps to manifest your baby masterclass in there. I'll be in there with you every step of the way. Come be in this energy. Come expand into what is possible for you. And then get to stay there. Get to stay there. This isn't about just staying positive. This is so much bigger. This is really stepping into the mama that you want to be. Everything is possible for you. I love you so much, mama. You got this. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know I did. I could geek out on this stuff forever. I will see you guys in the next episode. Love you. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, if it created a shift for you or gave you permission to look at your journey to motherhood in a new way, if it made you feel lighter, anything like that, be sure to leave me a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff flowing your way, mama. And if you don't already follow me on social media, come grab the extra manifesty vibes over on TikTok, where you'll find me as @manifestingmotherhood, or visiting my website at ohimama.com. I love you so big, mama, and cannot wait to connect with you in the next episode. In the meantime, go out there and say yes to that life that baby cannot wait to come home to.